Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen, we're back here today for an updated Fenrir build that has been very much so requested. But first I want to go through his abilities and why they kind of matter for building Fenrir, and they just kind of work together for the newer players to Smite and or to Fenrir. So let's get right into it. Already have the warrior tabby boots equipped, which is 40 physical power, just so we can see how they kind of transition to additional damage for our abilities. As we see from our 1 and our ultimate, we get quite a bit of use out of physical power. Another note that I wanted to make is his passive is pretty much landing 5 basic attacks. As you can see, they fill up the runes. As soon as we have all 5 runes going, we gain extra benefits for every single one of our abilities. Just kind of keep that in mind here. Another point I wanted to make is his 2, his Seething Howl. This self buff is a really great buff, really great scaling on it, up to 70 without the rune bonus. So pretty much with that, if you go the more bruiser route or the more tanky route for Fenrir builds, you still have some type of physical power, and also of course you have the lifesteal, which you don't really need a lifesteal item if you already have this. At full runes the buff is increased by 50%, that is huge. So that's pretty much all I wanted to point out, except one last thing actually, is his ultimate. At 4 runes, his protections are doubled. So if you go the more bruiser and or more tanky route for Fenrir, he can get a lot of use out of all those protection items you do build on him, making it double. So as soon as you go to pop your ultimate and go into the enemy team and pick up somebody and bring it back to your team, you're not going to be taking that much damage. So let's go to the actual build for Fenrir himself. Now if you're playing Fenrir in Conquest, more than likely probably jungling. If so, Bumba's Mask is definitely the best start item for that. If you're just laning, you could probably go into the Death's Toll. It works hand in hand with your passive, getting your passive stacks, and also the passive on the Death's Toll, things like that. Outside of Conquest, for the most part, you don't really need a starter item. Now, let's go into the boots first. The warrior tabby, obvious reasons, you'll want to get as much physical power, and the defensive items as well work pretty well for Fenrir. Next, the Yondrath is a really great item for Fenrir. Fenrir obviously isn't too much of a auto attack type of assassin like Kali or Bakasura. He kind of depends on using his abilities to leap in and out of combat, to getting his buffs, uses 3. All in all, he uses his abilities for his damage, so having that cooldown reduction, penetration, physical power, the mana to complement the cooldown reduction, this item's everything you ever want for an ability-based warrior or assassin that gets their damage from their abilities. Next, you can go into a bruiserish item like the Shifter Shield. Shifter Shield is kind of costly, but in my opinion, it's kind of I feel like it's worth it because of the passive alone. If you're above your 50% health threshold, you're getting additional 20 physical power passively. So that is 60 physical power, which is a lot. Also, you have the extra protections. If your HP drops below 50%, you're getting 20 extra protection. So it's a really great item overall for any bruiser builds for warriors and or assassins. So you can go with that. If you don't want to go with that, you can go into other optional defensive items. You can go to an item like Runeforge Hammer, which is extremely cost efficient, a decent amount of HP on it, and also turns some of that physical power, the physical protection into physical power. Or if you're fighting against multiple ADCs, just assassins and or hunters, or anybody that gets a lot of use out of attack speed, you can go to the Frostbound Hammer. Incredible amount of HP, a decent amount of physical power, and being able to slow them by 30% with your basic attacks is huge, and also slow their attack speed, so you can use that item as well. Or you can go into the Witchblade, sort of on the same point, just kind of countering any attack speed users. Now the attack speed on this item, you still get use out of it because you use that attack speed to build up your runes, just slapping minions or gods that kind of build up this runes. So the item doesn't really go to complete use. Of course, other optional items are pretty much all the defensive items in the game, but let's just continue on with the build with the items that we have here now. Now, if we're seeking more penetration and more damage overall, Titans Bane is definitely a great item for that. If you're fighting against any healers or high health regeneration gods like Shock, Vamana, or Hercules, you can go to the Baldur's Beatstick instead of the Titans Bane. After you have these few items here, it kind of goes into, I feel, a little bit more situational. If you want to go for a little bit more of a bruiser route, you can go at this point the Runeforge Hammer, or you can go to the Spear Robe. If you're fine with these couple of bruiser items here, the Bow of Shifter Shield and Runeforge Hammer, and you like these, this build here, you can go into the Deathbringer. Deathbringer just kind of topping off your damage for your build here, giving you 50 physical power, 20% crit, and if you do crit, it's going to crit really, really hard with the passive that we have here. So let's just kind of demonstrate this build real quickly. Let's get our 5 stacks up here. As you can see, we have a really nice crit. Let's actually go to this guy right here. So we have our 5 stacks here. Let's pop our 2. Before we pop our 2, we have 242 physical power. We pop the 2. We're at 347 physical power, and you can see the lifesteal is just huge, from 100 to 200 lifesteal. So you can just see from there how much his 2 buff is just insane. Now, quickly going into like an attack speed build. You don't really see this too often, but if you were to go into a attack speed build, I would imagine you can go something like maybe like Ikval, maybe something like this. This would be something I would imagine somewhat of this nature for an attack speed build for Fenrir, just kind of maximizing the use of just trying to get all your runes up. That would be something for like a, an attack speed oriented build for Fenrir. And then of course going into a tank build, Fenrir is kind of self-explanatory. You can go to items like Sovereignty, Hardware Amulet, just kind of protection items for a tanky Fenrir. Now actives real quickly. You can do this. I see this somewhat often as go into a blink, whether it's one of these basic blinks or a greater blink. You just buy this just to kind of surprise the enemy team for your ultimate. So you blink, ultimate, grab somebody, and just kind of take them away. Nobody really sees a blink coming, but what they can see you is leaping 20 feet in the air and just landing, and then you use your ultimate after that. So they can kind of predict that, but they can't really predict a blink ultimate. So you can go into something like that, or you can go to more supportive actives like Heavenly Agility, or Creep and Curse, wherever that is at. Creep and Curse, just to kind of slow the enemy. Just kind of slow them down, so that way you have an easier time trying to pick them off with your ultimate, things like that. Or you can go to the Shield of Underworld. You pretty much pop this and then go into your ultimate form, and then if they try to attack you while you're in your ultimate and you're trying to grab an enemy, they can't lifesteal off you, and you kind of reflect that damage back. So that pretty much wraps it up for the build video for Fenrir. And let me know if you guys do anything different for your Fenrir, since Fenrir can be built so many different ways. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.